Hey guys, how's it going? I haven't done one of these things in forever because I just haven't felt like it. But uh, really beautiful out today here in Austin. Last week was we had real winter weather, a lot of days and nights in the 30s, a lot of like precipitation, some ice and shit. My mom was in town because I had a hernia operation last Monday, and she was here to take care of me and take care of things around the apartment. Took care of Zoe, my older cat. She really nursed her back to health. I really appreciate that and stuff. I really happy that things are going good for good old Zoe. She just turned 17 a couple days ago, March. So yeah, and just chilling here today on my break. And I saw something online earlier. There's a few album anniversaries today. One of them is the debut of Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. If any of you know Spearhead, Michael Franti, that's his first group. Uber political hip hop, really cool shit. But another anniversary that really caught my attention today is today, March 3rd, is the 36th anniversary of Metallica's release Master of Puppets. Came out on this day in 1986. And it's the first Metallica album I ever bought, and I bought it probably I bought it sometime in '87. I'm trying to remember. I probably bought it like almost a year later, like a little less than a year after it came, just a bit less than a year when it came out. And yeah, I remember when I was in middle school, I saw one of my friends' denim jackets, and he had a Metallica patch, just a logo. And sometime later, when I was in the record store looking at stuff, I was going through the cassettes, and I saw this burgundy spine color on a cassette with the letters that said Metallica. And I was like, "Oh, Metallica! I've heard of those guys." And I pulled out the cassette and I looked at the album cover and I saw the logo and I said, "Oh, I've seen that logo. That was on my friend's jacket." So I was like, what the hell? I'm like, I wanted to buy something. So I was like, I'm gonna pick this up. And I hate to be one of those, close to boomer types. I mean, I am Gen X, but I will say, yeah, it was back when, didn't have any listing stations and couldn't really preview the album. You just knew by word of mouth, or you just took a hunch. You're like, all right, well, let me see, how this is. So I bought the cassette. It was like $8.99 or something before tax. And I was actually walking to my friend's house from the record store, which was like not close to from the house where I grew up in, where that my mom owned. And so I'm starting to walk to my friends. I have my Walkman. I open up the cassette and I pop it in. Start playing it while I'm walking along the island between the north or the east and west. No, sorry. The north and the east and west part of, I guess, Route 70, I think it was. So, sorry, got a brain fart there. But anyway, I'm walking down that island. It's all snow covered. I think we had a snow day, which is why I was able to go to my friends. And tape starts playing, and I hear this acoustic music, and I'm just like, acoustic guitar melody, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm like, this is interesting. It's kind of like dark sounding, like low note, and it's like building, playing. I'm like, that's really interesting. And then like it just crashes. Battery kicks. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, whoa. I was just like, whoa, blown away. I mean, at that point, I had been listening to Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and some other various metal bands that you listen to when you're getting into metal. And I think I heard Anthrax before Metallica, I feel like, or maybe around the same time, but that was the only other like thrash metal band where I was like, whoa, I'm like, these guys are badass too. Like, this was the sound of metal. This is what, to me personally, I thought metal should sound like. Like, yes, that aggressive, heavy distorted guitar, but also with like this like thrashy like rhythm, just like fast paced. And man, I was just like blown away like right away. And as soon as I hear James Hetfield's vocals, you know, lashing out the action, returning your reaction, ripped and even torn away. I was just like, oh, wow. I was like, this is a guy this is a metal singer, you know, metal vocalist, whatever. I'm like, you know, I just played the whole tape as far as I could. I don't remember how long that walk was, but I probably played most, if not all, of the first side of the album by the time I got to my friend's house. And man, I was blown away, man. I've played this cassette and CD like so many goddamn times on my Walkman and my CD players and my Discmans and stuff. It's just it's my favorite Metallica album ever, you know, just because I have that connection and that, you know, memories and nostalgia and how it really permeated my brain and, you know, impressed me to, you know, into this world of thrash heavy metal. You know, and then I went backwards because a lot of Metallica fans, a lot of people hear Metallica, like Ride the Lightning will be like their first album, maybe, you know, or the one that hits them. And I didn't hear Ride the Lightning for a while because I was so immersed and so into, you know, Master of Puppets. You know, every song I loved on there. You know, Disposable Heroes. I think that was my favorite for a long time. I love Sanitarium. You know, Orion is amazing. You know, Cliff's, you know, bass playing in the solos in there. You know, it's a really just rad album, man. And I say sometime after I heard Ride the Lightning, and I love Ride the Lightning. I mean, Ride the Lightning is you know, it's a superb, solid album. I mean, a lot of people are like, that's peak Metallica. I mean, for me, if you're going to choose like peak Metallica, I would say you have to put Lightning and Puppets back to back, because those are the two albums with the sound where people are like, you know, when you want to think about like classic Metallica or like, you know, or prime Metallica, like those two albums, you know, I mean, Kill 'Em All is badass too, you know, the original, the debut, and Justice for All is awesome too, you know, how complex and progressive and the music is in the lyrics. The only thing I don't like about and Justice for All is the shitty production, and you know, Lars's crap ass drums, and you can't hear the bass and stuff. But man, Master of Puppets, like, oh my god, like what a brilliant album. And Cliff Burton's final recording with them, unfortunately, I learned that story along the way too. I was like, man, I'm just getting into this fucking guys and this, and then I find out like the bass player, you know, had been dead for months or however long since, you know, from when it happened to when I started listening to them. So I was like, when I got into them, they were like a bit in limbo, you know, like I have to look at the timeline. I think if I started listening to them in 87, I think Newstead debuted with them like that September maybe or something. I'd have to look in the timeline again. But so I was in that middle transitional thing with Metallica, you know, in Metallica's career, like getting into them, and I'm sure, and like with millions of others. I mean, there's many of us that were in that time period in 1986, 1987, 1988 that were discovering Metallica for the first time. So, but I mean, when I was discovering them, I felt like I was just like in that moment of like, you know, you're reading all these articles about, you know, you're reading tributes articles, you know, you didn't know what they were going to do next, or like, you know, obviously you're going to find a new person, but you know, that was a really unique time period to be a fan of theirs. But but yeah, it's like 36 years. Wow. You know, like all this time gone by, and I still love that album. And I still love it, man. And I still just, you know, I still will say that it's my favorite. I don't want to say, you know, I was going to say, if you're going to say I have to say pick one or the other. And yeah, I will say that I will pick it over Ride of Lightning. As crazy and sacrilegious as that may sound to most Metallica fans, that I don't know, like I said, just the impression it made on me and the music, and I mean I heard it, like I listened to it like way more. I mean, I've listened to Lightning like plenty of times as well, but you know, Puppets is just going to seem to be my go-to album initially when I want to think about listening to Metallica and stuff. So you know, and the tour was cool. If you ever see like footage, if you ever watched the Cliff 'Em All video, the tribute they did to Cliff Burton, their bassist, you know, you see all the footage. A lot of footage in the beginning you see is from when they were touring with Ozzy, and you see like the cool, like they had a really cool backdrop, you know, for their set. Like they had like a big like tapestry, I think, with like the album cover, but then they had like crosses like around. I think it might have been like around, I don't know if it was around Lars's drum kit or behind him or whatever. Maybe it was like raised above, but you could see like the cross tombstones and stuff like on the album cover. It was really cool set, and I mean, they're just on fire. I was actually watching that DVD a few weeks ago, and I'm just like, man, the energy, the fury, the fire, just the impulsive chaos that they dispense out to you. It's just like, man, like the energy. And the thing I always love about Metallica is how they, even back then, he appealed to so many, subcultures, like besides metal. Like I remember, because they were like punk fans, and James skated, stuff. I skateboarded. I was friends with a skater, and he was always like, oh yeah, man, and Justice for All, man, it's fucking cool. I love that album. Yeah, Metallica rocks. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, even like skaters like Metallica, because there was that thing where like, the skaters like punk. I mean, well, actually the skaters like punk and metal, but like, there was that thing still then where it was like, well, you're punk or you're metal, but things were starting to get mixed already then, like, so, I mean, I was starting to just like anything that was aggressive sounding, so, but I thought that was cool that he acknowledged it. Was like, yeah, Metallica's awesome, because I kind of felt like they were like, yeah, they're even like a skater, they're skate rats band, like they're a skaters band, or a metalheads band, and before they became way accessible and stuff, so, yeah. Oh God, what an album. Go listen to it. I'm probably gonna listen to it later on. Put it on when I get back to work or something, or when I get off my shift. And just crank that mother in celebration of the anniversary, 36 years of Metallica's Master of Puppets. Oh boy, what a time to be around for that album and its legacy and such. So man, I was talking about recently how I seem to like permeate the metal vibe. I guess because I don't know if it's the hair, black shirt, black clothes, whatever. Like, I mean, I listen to all sorts of other music. I love many genres and styles of music. But a lot of people look at me, and the first impression will be like, metal, like you're fucking metal. I was at Canary Roost last week doing karaoke with my friends, and the first song I did for karaoke was Gloria by Laura Branigan. My mom loves that song, and I like it too, and it's fun to sing. And later on, this guy came up to me, approached me sometime after I did the song. He's like, man, that's awesome, dude. He's like, you're up on stage. I'm looking at this guy going, oh, he's all 80s metal. And he's like, and then you're bringing out the pop song, 80s song. It's so great. And I was like, well, I'm like, yeah, that's my childhood. It's like I grew up on that music, so it still means a lot to me, and I have a lot of like nice, nostalgia for it and sentiments. So it's fun to sing, and I like to like impress people and be like, whoa, they're doing that song. So, but yeah, I'm glad that I still, have the metal vibes. But then I guess it also goes to show that like when people ask me who my favorite band is, I do say Metallica is my most favorite band ever, because they are. Just, besides the music, I just love like how they did things and their philosophy on whatever. And yeah, they change. I mean, who doesn't change, And he got older, but I still think they're badass. And, I've seen them twice in concert, in 10 years apart, 94, 2004. So I saw the Shit in the Sheds tour in 94, and then I saw the some kind of Monster World tour, which it was called something else I can't remember now. So yeah, they're awesome. I missed them when they were here at ACL years ago. I tried to want to see that and I didn't, but if they ever come around again, I'm gonna make an effort. I'll probably have to go to like Houston or San Antonio to see them, because there's nowhere here in Austin to see them. I mean, unless they want to play the football stadium or the big new arena, whenever that is, or the amphitheater. But I feel like Metallica is more of a Houston or San Antonio band. So, and I'll travel either way to see them, when they come around, whenever that is. So, all right, folks, I'm going to head out. Thank you for sticking around and watching the video. I don't know when I'm going to do another video again. I want to start up my podcast. I don't know when I'm going to do that again, but I have to really sit down and figure out what I want to do first and then go from there. So, y'all have a great day wherever you are. And be kind to one another.